$27,000 of hard money to buy two brand new pumpers and a new rescue unit, and $52,000 worth of new rescue equipment that very desperately needed in the city. So from the fire department and planning, we thank you very much for working with us. And hopefully in about 3 to 4 weeks, if everything goes well, you can see brand new fire engines in the city of Mount Vernon, first time since 2010.
How much does it cost the taxpayers? That's what I'm talking about. That's my kind of business. Anything we can get for free without charging the taxpayers is a good job. Huh? Thank you. Thank you, Sylvia.
Okay, I don't know where to begin. This is also week number 2, and I got the most challenges than anybody can say about that. Not only is the building department losing money based on what these, it's a long talk we have to have a long talk. Long talk. I don't want to put all the bad stuff out on the table, but yeah, we're losing money. You don't see it, but it's being given out to other people that are doing inspections and plan reviews. So, okay,
I know.
staff, there gonna be some new additions, and some will be leaving, some will be leaving. Today I hired 1 new housing, and within the next 2 weeks, we're gonna have 2 more building inspectors. And these are already, they've been there for years. That's why they were never, no, they're not seasonal. They were never not hired. Why? We don't know why. But in the good news, everybody's coming back into the building department to file plans and permits and applications again, and not having stuff outsourced. So that's on the good note. There's several big jobs that's just been filed. On Friday, 250 East Stamford Boulevard, right across from Staples, Mountain Fury's gonna go in here. They're gonna do a $2 million renovation.
Talk about Stag.
No, yeah, but we met with them too. Let's stack. I don't know what the price on it is yet. They already started. They're doing the interior demolition on Graphic Road.
I know the price, but I ain't gonna say that price.
Okay.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, yeah. And also, there's one that's being renovated, or once they want to get their permit on Washington Street for a storage facility. I know you know that property for $8 million.
Okay.
Who is that one?
Well, it used to be a certain person, but it's been sold. 275 Washington Street. You know. But the property's been sold, so they're planning to demolish that building, and they're building a 3-story storage building, which is priced at $8 million. So they say. So, I do have a problem with the controller's office, but I would probably rather sit down with her. Oh yeah, because I'd rather not even talk about that. So I have to make an appointment to see her.
Okay.
Other than that, I think we're moving in the right direction. A lot of people have to be trained. I don't think they were ever trained. They're just up there. Still got to address the telephone issue. Because me personally, I don't even hear the phone ring. But I know they do.
Oh,
When you walk from the outside, they got this animate, this directs you all over the place. Some person on the phone, if you want permits, press this number, press that number, and then when you do press that, you usually get a voicemail and it's full. So that's, I have issues with that, so I gotta figure out the phone system with, I think we gotta redo that.
And just make a note, Gary, I don't think I got a chance to send out the message to everybody, but when the phone rings in your department, I want somebody to pick it up. I don't want an answering machine.
Yeah.
I don't want press 1 to go here, press 2 to go there. Somebody has to pick up the phone and speak to the people and let the people know or handle their business or talk to them and direct them in the right direction. Right now, when you call any department, it goes to voicemail, you're right. You gotta press 15 buttons, and then by the time you finish with all the buttons, it goes to voicemail, and then the voicemail is always full.
Yep.
So I want to see people speaking to it, because this is it's a customer-based business. Okay, people want to call us. They want us to pick up the phone. If they have a question, they don't want to talk to an answer machine. They want to talk to a person. One person came to my office, walked over here, said they were calling for 2 days, couldn't reach nobody, so they came and walked over. So That's not the way we do business here. If somebody takes a moment to pick up the phone to call us, we take the moment to answer the call. All right? So make sure Gary's gonna go through each department. He's gonna make sure all of that is straightened out, so this way when people call us, we have someone answering the phone to assist whoever it is. Especially some of our seniors, they don't have time to be playing with buttons, you know? So let's get a handle on that.
Today began the application process for after-school employment. And so spread the word. It's on the website, both city and the youth bureau. And this is for youth ages 14 to 21 for after-school opportunity. The last time we met, I told you that the 21st Century had blocked us, which is our biggest grant in the youth bureau that serviced 700 youth. And so they lift the whole. Of course, there's stipulation that every month we have to give them an update with our single audit status. And so that's lifted, and we can continue to serve those 700 kids. Yeah, that's great news. 700
Oh,
kids.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And however, meeting with the controller, she did let me know because we have to reinstate TAs and workers for the STRONG program. She did let me know that Mayor Wallace, that I have to speak with you because there's no money until they give me some more money to employ these people. So we're gonna have to talk after this or tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for the warm welcome. The only thing related, again, I'm here 2 weeks, so it's crash course time, but as the Mayor said, it is budget season. We are, I guess, officially behind schedule since I'm getting my feet wet at the moment, so I will be reaching out to everybody, so please, if you're starting to work on your wish list, your budgets from last year, I am getting my arms around the numbers, but as Mayor Wallace said, the focus really will be on a deep dive of everything that has come into the budget cycle the prior year. Helps me, helps you guys, and I think it'll drive out a lot of cost efficiencies along the way. And on that note, if anybody knows of anything that doesn't smell right from a cost perspective, let me know. Right? I want to try. We've already worked with procurement and a lot of other folks on things that we could be doing better and could free up some cash to do a lot of other things for other groups. So leaving that. Other good news, showed Mayor Wallace yesterday. I did watch the commissioner's report before I got here, and I believe it was Commissioner Morton that highlighted the need for a new website. So we have already started that day one. The team is working on that. I believe we're locking them in the office for about 6 hours tomorrow and banging that out. So very clean, very sleek. It's going to make it very easy for people to navigate and hopefully just kind of really start to change the optics of the city. So I will be looking for volunteers once we get the main page done. So if anybody wants to kind of dive in with me and kind of help get their departments refreshed as well, I'm hoping to reach out and let me know. And to your point, we'll touch base on the telephones afterwards. If anybody else has a problem, please reach out to me.
I have one question. So, you mentioned the telephone, the actual telephones, but the cell phones. If there's a way that we can look into the procurement, I think the comptroller's office handles that now with cell phones, but they're still giving out flip phones, and it's just not up to speed with what the commissioners need to figure out.
Yeah, so Joe and I already talking about what the longer term strategy is. I think as a city we need to focus on what our personal device policies would be. But we've already been talking with Microsoft and looking at some strategies around leveraging our own telephony and upgrading it so that we can basically your office number can be used on your cell phone, but encapsulated so that we cover legal aspects. Make sure that government communications are handled appropriately. So that I think goes a long way in not even having that issue with the phone. But we have it's early age, so we have to get along with that policy.
I got one question, because I haven't seen one of those in a long time. Anybody know what? You got a flip phone?
Deborah showed me the flip phone. So look, there's a flip phone, okay? There's the flip
They
phone.
still have those?
Yeah.
They're coming back. It's a retro thing.
All right, well, listen, we're gonna work on that. We're gonna move out of this old way of doing business and move up. Because I'm sure there's like 20 phones since the flip phone. I didn't even think they even exist anymore.
You can get a free Google number that will bring on your personal phone.
Well, Teddy's still working with his sidekick, so.
Recreation, so there's a few things that are major projects. One is that we are working on finalizing or at least getting the final quote for a new HVAC system for the senior room at the Village Center. Last year we had major issues with that, so we're working with DPW on that. Also, there are a number of renovation projects that are in play related to CDBG funding. Playground at least four playgrounds that we are scheduled to renovate quickly with the use of that money, in addition to also installing the dugouts or the awnings on the other fields that don't have them at Brush, installation of a splash pad apparatus at Brush, and the fitness court at Parkway Park. I think the last piece is that the bid spec has been completed. I think it's in the law department now for review to go to the council. They already have their letter for it, and once it is approved by the law department, Joe will make the copies for the council for 4th Street Playground to be resurfaced. Again, that's also a part of CDBG funding. So those are the major projects that we got going on now. We'll also do a end of the season evaluation of all the playgrounds, as we do every year, to give them notarized for the next season. So the only other thing I think I want to focus on today is what's needed, which is City Fest. City Fest is not canceled. City Fest is happening on Saturday. I will be sending out an email to all the appropriate department heads about a walkthrough for Wednesday. For us to walk through, we've done this a number of times, so it's not anything new. So if y'all go back to your old plan of last year, just look at it, be prepared to tell me if there's anything different that I need to know on Wednesday. But other than that, we will be ready for Wednesday. We are finalizing the artist list. We pretty much are 90% done with that. I have submitted to the comptroller already the vouchers for the stage lighting and all of that. So she has that, worked through that. And also 1 or 2 other additional charges that I've already worked through. My next thing with the law department is that I will be engaging them about the insurance certificate to make sure we have that in place for it as well. Marketing, you'll start to really see the marketing start to push tonight and tomorrow and all throughout the rest of the week for this. We have right now about 40 vendors.
Oh, yes, we have actually
55 vendors that are already confirmed. Montefiore is our major sponsor. They have already coordinated all of the health pavilion with health, health vendors. So they are all set. The recreation department has already planned out the children's lane, the sports activities that are going to happen as a part of that as well. And the senior pavilion is all set to go. So
about the police.
the police, yes, and I had a conversation with the police commissioner. He's working on the security company. Gave him the same budget as last year. I just had a conversation with the parking commissioner about what needs to be done as it pertains to parking signs, and also we're going to lay out the vendors' spaces. And so it will be a great event. It may not be to the magnitude of what it has been 2 years ago in the sense of big name kind of things, but good artists that will come and it'll be a community event, right? And we're making sure that we have the diversity. So right now we have hip hop, we have R&B, we have rock, we have gospel. What else am I missing? Reggae. And we have the performing arts school kids that are doing. The superintendent is actually singing with the gospel group, so that's going to be good. And we have the working on the Latin. I just put out a call. So. And the mayor playing the piano.
Just throw me out.
There you go. So I mean, so in essence, that's where we are.
Where is it gonna be, like, what
It
street?
is going to be on Brownton Avenue between Sydney and Lincoln, as it has been in the past. We may not be going all the way to Sydney, because if we have 54 vendors, we typically have about 80 or so. We may not need to go that far out, but we'll lay it out.
Between Sydney and where?
Sydney and Lincoln, and then also where the circle is,
Ah.
where the circle is, and then also on Oakley is where the health pavilion is, which is from Prairie to Sydney, to Ground.
The renovation of the parks, we're still doing 4th Street Park?
The
The
surface.
playground, redoing the surface for the
The
basketball and
sur-
stuff?
Yeah, that's the bid packet that's actually my letter is at the council. The bid packet is being reviewed by the law department. They will get that done.
Did it come in today?
Yeah, I think it did. I think Joe said he'd give it to you all today. So they will have that. I mean, the reality is that the letter is there, right? The council just needs to see the bid packet, which they will have by the time they have it be on Wednesday. It's straightforward. It's just resurfacing that. Then we'll do a sport court covering over it. Just so historical standpoint, before we had a sports topic on it, they started to rip it up, started throwing it at each other. And so it just has become a problem. The reason why we did that is because it's going to cost anywhere between $175,000 to $250,000 to redo that surface, because it's so much damage so far. So there's a lot of money on it. So, okay.
That's gonna be a great project. Exciting. Oh,
DPW.
hold on, you forgot, you missed Gaylord back there.
Good afternoon. As far as the police department, of course, we made some changes in the police department. Of course, you know that we're going through an investigation with overtime abuse. You've seen that on TV and on the news and everything. There's some other things I can't talk about, but we will talk about traffic enforcement will increase starting this week, especially around schools. The Mayor's School Initiative Program will be effectively, really special attention in areas around most of the crosswalks for the children. You can see that those are being changed again now, back to the right color. And the ones that aren't there, we haven't got to them yet. The mayor, we had decided that we're going to finally put the crossing guards in uniform, so that's a good thing, make them look good. And they're excited about that. As far as parking, I can say to y'all, the placards and everything where y'all, those high areas, you know, Prospect Avenue, Bremerton Avenue, those areas of double parking, they're going to ticket you. We need to get the attention of the people as if we live in Bronxville and White Plains and all those good places where you can come and visit, where you'll be able to go down 4th Avenue. So enforcement within the next 2 weeks is going to increase. So just be careful with those pockets, okay? Anything for me? Anybody want to ask?
I just have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
How was the three things that we had this weekend, like Beach Party, the Caribbean Fest, and the Wakanda Festival? How did that go? Any issues?
We didn't have any issues. We were fine. We were fine. And considering that it's vacation time and everybody's coming back, and we held it down. So, of course, there's nothing major, few things happening, but, you know, let's get ready for City Fest. Let's get excited about City Fest. Let them know that we got a new sheriff in town, and they ain't talking about me, I'm talking about the mayor. Let's just get excited this weekend and have some fun.
Hi, the assessor's office. We finalized our 2019 final assessment roll on August 1st. Currently, the deputy commissioner is currently working on all of the small claim applications that was filed against the city this year. That will be affected the 2020 taxes. Also, I just want to, I'll need your help on this, Mayor. FYI, I need to upgrade the software that the assessment office currently uses. It hasn't been upgraded since 1999. Starting the end of next year, they will no longer be servicing it for maintenance. So the new upgrade would be past 2.0, and the cost is about $42,500. I was going to speak tonight in front of the city council, in front of their, their review, their pre-meeting, and give them the information based on the upgrade. The problem is the funding. I need where I would need to get the 42.5. I know I can put it in. I'm going to have it in my proposed budget for 2020, but I need it to be really to have this probably finalized before the end of the year. We have to be in contract, at least a signed contract with the municipality for the new upgrade from past 2.0. Also, I did send a letter up, FYI information for you there, letting you know that tomorrow I will be in Albany, New York. I'll be attending a roundtable discussion that I was invited to pertaining to the landmark decision that the city of Mount Vernon won against T-Mobile case in November of 2018. Currently, T-Mobile, which we all know has very deep pockets, they're trying to get a bill pass, amended bill pass pertaining to us able to tax telecommunications. So they're challenging that, so I will be representing tomorrow the city of Mount Vernon and also the Westchester Assessors Association, myself, Newcastle assessor, and also Ossining assessor. Hopefully all goes well, because if that decision is overturned, as you know, that will play a huge impact, financial impact against municipalities like the city of Mount Vernon, and we do put special assessments on telecommunication properties. Not money, but assessed values, hundreds of thousands yearly. It's not just for the city of Mount Vernon, it's also will affect the school and the library, because they also get direct. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I have a briefing before you go up? Some sort of briefing about what you're going to do when you work here, just the T-Mobile situation?
All right, number one on DPW list is the EPA case with the Department of Justice regarding storm sewers. I'll be meeting with the law department tomorrow to discuss that and what our course of action is going to be regarding the consent decree. Mount Vernon's had a history of signing consent decrees and writing checks that we can't cash. So we need to make sure that we can live with whatever we agree to. Department of Justice. Sanitary sewers, we got some large repairs coming up, some trouble spots, we're working on those. Number two on the list is Memorial Field. We're currently negotiating the contract with the high bidder, the low bidder, the only bidder, to try and get a more reasonable number, so that's ongoing. Winter prep is a big item, snow trucks for plows. Right now, we've got 7 working plows that we're looking to get up and operable. We've got 10 routes. We've got quite a way to go, and we've got some real dilapidated equipment. And where we need some love regarding plow trucks. We're working on beautification on Lot 1, one of the mayor's special projects, and Firehouse number 3, opening the place up, making it more inviting. And we're also still doing some work up in Fleetwood along the commercial corridor up there to beautify the tree well. Street lights, we've got most of the LEDs done, but we're looking to try and kick off phase 2 of the street lighting program and take care of the lights that haven't been done yet, as well as some other additional things. We've got a meeting with NIPA scheduled later this week to discuss continuing that project. Sanitation, we're still dealing with old garbage trucks. We're doing what we can to repair the ones that we got and try and get them up to the task, at least to last us through for a few more months. In the meantime, we're still borrowing trucks from New York City. That agreement is set to end soon, so we won't have that luxury for much longer. So hopefully we'll get a little relief in getting some of our trucks repaired while we have the ones to use. We're also talking about possibly adding routes once we work out the manpower and the equipment issues. We're also looking to restructure our organization a little bit. We've got different departments and bureaus and divisions in the department. Not everyone has the proper supervision. We know we're short in supervision, and we're looking, especially for next budget, every platoon needs to have a sergeant. Can't do business otherwise because too much falls between the cracks, and we're going to need those positions in DPW. We're looking to also continuing to look to computerize our complaint work order and permit system. When we do legal searches, it's very hard to find. We've got a database. The company that we've got that we're looking to convert to has been less than responsive. There's a few issues there with municipality, and we'll talk about that. And the last major issue I want to talk about is our DPW facility. We've got a number of changes that need to be made with our DPW facility. We've been forced out of the marina by the DEC. We're no longer allowed to do anything there. This is particularly going to affect us. It's also going to affect the water department because they do some operations there. We don't currently have a licensed recycling facility for our recyclables, our yard waste, or our street sweepings as a transfer facility. So we're going to have to come up with it. We've got an interim plan that we're working on now. We're going to have to come up with a permanent solution to that. And last of all is our garage, obviously. We're working on trying to find a way to, number one, get that leaky roof repaired so that we can upgrade the garage and at least take our old building and make it livable and functional until something can be done about that situation.
I have a question. 2. Pesticides and pests, unwanted pests called rodents. Do we have a plan for that? That was a question. And number 2, is your department going to designate someone to do the research for the, when we have tripping balls? Or are you going to get someone to help us do the research for those cases?
Once again, with number 2, for the time being, the only 2 people that can presently do depositions and do the research or put the papers together are myself and the deputy commissioner. We're looking to get a complaint investigator. We asked for one in the last budget. We didn't get it. It would be critical to do that. I've got somebody to do the legwork to find the information. Then they got to be carefully reviewed and sworn to by either myself or, that's the last important thing I want to say. I've got a brand new deputy commissioner who's just come on board. It's been a long time coming. The money pushed it up. And that's for rodents. In most cases, rodents living on or feeding on a property owner's property are the responsibility of the property owner. And We're looking to address garbage in the streets by doing better enforcement, and we're looking to take care of rodents in the streets. We do have somebody that we do call in an exterminator, but for the most part, these rodents are on private property, they're living on private property, and the enforcement has to be done through the building department.
I know, 45.
They may be running through the streets, but they're living in people's yards, particularly the big buildings, and particularly in the areas where they keep their garbage in the bigger buildings or in the backs of places such as the merchants on Petrillo Plaza. If you go in behind, if you go in behind Popeyes and all those stores back there, you'll see. And it's an enforcement issue that is out of the purview of DPW at that point. You
Well,
know,
Mayor,
deal with city.
what we were saying is that if we don't get a designated person to do the research on the complaints, our acts, our lawsuits, we're having stricken answers, which means we're held liable because they have not provided us with the stuff. So I'm just saying, that's why I asked. That's it.
And we've been working to.
Right,
get-
fine.
That is something we've been working on the rodents. We've also been working, which we had a task force with the building department, the police department, everybody else involved, because we have went to a bunch of the slumlord houses. We've been dealing with all of those apartments as well, the rodent infestation, and the condition of living that nobody should have to live in. So we are cracking down on that as well. We have already started with all tripping hazards. That's one thing we're doing in Fleetwood, also with the stones around the trees. We're taking those out, we're replacing them with some cobblestone, and we're planting plants inside of the flowers so nobody will trip. It won't be a tripping hazard anymore. You can see it as well, and it's part of the beautification initiative. So all of these things we're working on in all different departments and different phases. So you'll see it going more and more. Your thing with the rodent, I've gotten plenty of emails and complaints about it. We're on top of it. We're on top of making sure we put out traps and all kind of other things for rodents in our community. But we are also going to be hitting, like you said, landlords and these building owners that are putting their garbage out and just letting garbage fester and just be spilt off over their property. The bottom line is we have to create behavior modification. Okay, we have to show people how we have to live, and it is not the standard that we're used to seeing in the prior years. It has had to change. It got to be lifted up. We've already spoken about starting to address properties as well that are not cutting their lawns, that have overgrown weeds going into the sidewalks and all over the place. That is no longer tolerated. We will have to address all of that. And I understand some people say, hey, they can't afford to do it or whatever, then you know what, we'll work with that and figure out how we're gonna do it. We'll chop some of these things down ourselves and bill you. And then figure out how you're gonna do it later, we'll apply to the taxes, we'll figure out how it's gonna be paid. But it gotta get done, because people are a product of their environment. Once again, people are a product of their environment. And if the environment is not of excellence, they're gonna behave according to it. So this is why we need to raise it to the best standards that we can, because instead of thinking that it's okay to live like that, we have to show everybody in our city and beyond our 4 square miles that it's not okay. Okay, this is why we are cleaning up the parks, we are cleaning up the parking lots, we are putting out cameras, we are putting up a new lighting, we are cleaning around our firehouses. I've had dialogue with some of the churches. I'm asking churches that have chain link fences around their thing to take those down as well and lead it as an example. Because to me, okay, and this is just my thing, I don't want to put no religious stuff on anybody, but I always say no weapon formed against us is going to prosper, right? So if you're a church and you believe that, then take down the chain link fence, because we don't need that division. And it's saying you guys stay over there and we're over here. We have to become more inclusive. Everybody has to be together. It's one big family in Mount Vernon. So what we have to do is elevate the way we do things, the way we see things, the way we have our city, and the people will follow. So if you treat people in a bad environment as criminals, they're going to behave like criminals. If you treat them as people of excellence, they're gonna behave and raise themselves to the standards of excellence. So we have to keep on continuing to push this agenda. It starts here, like I keep saying, inside City Hall. This is where it starts. This is why we have to have those smiles. This is why we have to be able to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It doesn't cost us anything. It's free. Okay? And when you pick up the phone, people will be happy that somebody picked up the phone when they called. Somebody answered. This is what let them know that we respect you, we understand you're a taxpayer, and that we care. This morning, when I was coming out out the coffee shop, okay, up in Fleetwood, somebody came up to me and started really just giving me the riot act, venting on all of this kind of stuff. But I told him, I said, sir, I listened to him. I said, I haven't been here that long. I know you're going back 20 years. You're telling me about 22 years of dysfunction. I said, but I've only been here 3 weeks, and things is going to change. And I told him the same thing, okay? And we have to understand this when people are dealing with us from here on. They are operating off what I call the battered woman syndrome. That the first 5 boyfriends was ain't nothing, and now you finally find the right guy, and you treat him like crap, and you won't give him a chance. Okay? But what you have to do is they have to, by treating them and making them understand, it is true. It is true. You know? Hey, it's the untrusted man too. So the bottom line is, you go through life, and if everything is always if everybody you run past, okay, is a problem, you're gonna start eventually thinking that the next person you meet, even if it's Mr. Right, is a problem. The way you behave is going to be a reflection of your past and not the future which you're living into that you can have with that person. So we have to change that mentality. So you cannot get upset when people are upset and people are coming after us and people are complaining. Let them vent, let them be heard, and after they're finished, you say, thank you, I understand. That was before, but how we are operating now, you won't see that problem again. Okay? And that's what we need to do.
Is that turning the other cheek?
Turn the other cheek. Turn the other cheek. Some of us will get smacked up a little more than others, depending on your department, but we got to learn to turn the other cheek. But thank you, Commissioner Anderer, for all the stuff that you're doing as well.
Thank you.
So we had as many of you know, we had a monitoring and HUD monitoring visit that took place over a 9-day period in August. And Mayor Wallace was at our exit interview. The URA is fine. Programmatically, we have made tremendous progress addressing all of our outstanding compliance issues. We still have a way to go, but HUD was pleased, and Mayor Wallace can testify to that because he was in our meeting. So we are really delighted with the progress we made to date, and it's been a collective effort. And I want to thank all of you in the room who have helped us tremendously to get there, because we have gone back years and years and years of items we've had to address. There's still more to do, but we have made tremendous progress, and HUD is pleased. So thank you all. As part of our addressing compliance issues, we are repurposing about $3.5 million. 2.5 are approximately CDBG funds, and $1 million or 1.5 are home funds. So we put up for public comment how we're going to be using those funds. As you've heard, we're looking at fire trucks, we're looking at playgrounds, we're looking at activities with home buyer assistance programs. So there are lots of things we're looking to do with these old funds. Moving forward for fiscal year 19, we're going to look at using public infrastructure funds to address the needs of the police department and DPW. So that's what we're planning to do. Short term, what we need to make sure is these referral letters are voted on by the city council for fire trucks and playgrounds. Well, playgrounds are already voted on, but they need to vote on the 4th Street playground. And then it has to go through the Board of Estimates. And I also want to make sure that the URA board meets sooner rather than later to vote on the fire trucks and on the 4th Street playground. We process. We've asked community stakeholders to provide us input. We've had an online survey, and we've also had given surveys to residents in different community meetings. That information is being aggregated right now, so I think we have roughly about 350 surveys, just to make you all aware. So we are going to have a draft consolidated plan for everyone to review. Once we do, we will post it on the website, and I will ask everyone, and the city council and the mayor and everyone at this table to review it, because if you have priorities and you're going to seek public funding from us for activities or your agencies, if it's not in a consolidated plan, it ain't going to get funded. So I have alerted Commissioner Harris, because I want to make sure the police department, because I know you're interested in shop spotters and traffic lights and other items. And I want to make sure that we send an email to all the commissioners so that you provide input, because we're going to refine this and submit it by November 1st. So if it isn't in there, you're not going to get funded. So very important for you all to be part of this process. And we're also going to be seeking, again, more community input as well. We will hold a public meeting as well. Cities Rise, do you want to say something about Cities Rise?
So we've been talking a lot about customer service. I think Commissioner Error mentioned that you're looking at a new system for generating work orders. The Cities Rise program is meant to increase the city's capacity to provide great customer service, as well as increase our capacity to conduct housing code enforcement. And the proposal that was submitted on August 16th calls for the creation of a new office for constituent services. That office would drive the culture change that the mayor has been talking about since he got into office. Part of the issue that we have is how complaints are received and then what happens to those complaints. I've been speaking with Commissioner Gary about the new technology that this grant will help the city acquire. We still have another revision that the proposal needs to go through. Commissioner Morton, I hope that you don't schedule the walkthrough for Wednesday at 1, because Wednesday at 1 we're going to need most of the commissioners in the room. If your department interacts with the public, we are requesting that you attend this meeting, because this is one of the companies that we're looking at who can bring a crowdsourcing app, if you will. Is that the correct term? But essentially, if a citizen, a resident sees something, they can take a photograph and report it, and that's a way that each department can then, depending on the category that the person receives, that the person assigned to that complaint, it will be routed, whether it's water, DPW, recreation, or buildings department, or even youth, the veterans department. The complaint will be routed to the correct department. So the presentation is Wednesday at 1, and we're also going to do an overview of the Cities Rise program. We've been working with Harvard University, has been advising the city of Harvard on how to conduct this capacity building in a way that if City Hall, if City Hall improves its operations, but citizens don't know about it, they won't be able to participate. So we want to make sure that whatever improvements we make, that the residents are able to use and understand. And that would also mean that our staff has to understand the new technology that we're going to bring in, so that there's equity in the way that the services are delivered, even with the way that each departments communicate with each other. I think the other conversation that we're going to have is about digitization, and that's something that we're looking to the IT department to figure out. So Wednesday at 1.
Good afternoon. This is the time of year where I'm focusing in retail with the kids going back to school, and we're looking at scanner accuracy in the stores, making sure things are ringing up what they're supposed to be charged. And I found some significant errors in quite a few locations. In fact, some of the customer scanning stations weren't even working at all. A few locations were given warnings to get them up and running again that were. One location application did not get them up and running. Again, they were issued a violation last week, and today we settled on a $750 fine. Went back to follow up, and they're still not working. So I will follow up by Friday, and if they're not up and running by Friday, they will be issued a second summons. I'm getting ready to start my gas inspections again, second inspections for the year. When I finished off in the spring, the stations are about 70% tamper-proof resistant for credit card skimmers. I haven't had any reports of a credit card skimmer since I don't even remember when. They were coming in like crazy last year. Hopefully that stopped until the bad guys figure out a new way to make a more efficient device and see how to get in there. We lost a major supermarket last month. Western Beef closed down. And we lost 2 gas stations that were 2 of the oldest ones. Someone is going to be taking them over and remodeling, and then a new gas station is going to be opening up on Sanford and 4th, I believe.
Yeah.
So, you know, we lost a few.
Oh, it is an issue with that. They didn't get it. You got it. And no permit. We did the fraud.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. So Veteran Services, as was stated, is still struggling with the lack of personnel. It's hard to provide the directors to have somebody answering the phone. We are trying to mitigate those circumstances by hiring VA work studies. The criteria is that a person has to be going to school more than half time and using their GI Bill, so it's pretty stringent, and we haven't had any luck in the past probably year and a half with getting anyone that that can come here and meet those qualifications. So we're working with the Youth Bureau right now to try to find some older youth that would be able to work during the day, maybe around their college schedule. Due to the sensitive nature of the information that we process, we just can't have anybody working in there. I am glad to announce that we've received grant funding this year that exceeds our grant funding last year. It's, we get an annual allotment from New York State of $10,000. This year went up to $10,000. Prior to that, it was $8,500. I was also notified yesterday that we got another $5,000 from Senator Jamal Bailey. And then we've also been promised $50,000 to complete the Gold Star Mothers Monument. That we have to wait. I'm waiting on the third proposal to come in to present that, to get that funding, and I'm in negotiations with a private donor to get the remainder of the funding needed. Excuse me. Again, like I mentioned, staffing, we resubmitted a letter to request that the council call for legislation that they've had regarding the creation of a secretary position for the Veteran Service Agency. For many people don't know the background, there was a clerk, a shared clerk with civil defense in that office. When civil defense had to move to accommodate HIPAA guidelines, that clerk went with their assigned director, which went over to the Lincoln Avenue Firehouse. That is why the Veteran Service Agency is empty. Right now, I'm working on something to try to get the alternative veterans tax applied to the school portion of the taxes. For those that don't know, the alternative veterans tax gives about 15 to 25% off of taxes and then another percentage off for disabled vets. Right now, it's only being applied to the county, and we just recently did the city portion. But as you know, the school portion is the lion's portion of the taxes, so this will be a big deal to the 478 veteran homeowners. I've created a survey to send out to the veteran homeowners to try to justify it to the school district to show them that these people are eligible. They don't have children enrolled in the school district, and they've owned their homes for well over 30 years, the majority, to justify the exemption. The other thing is that whereas it will have a big hit right now through attrition as people get older and pass on, the likelihood of that many veterans coming back here is low. And what it also does is it incentivizes veterans to move back here. So you have more responsible property owners that are willing to buy and live in this city. We're trying to increase advocacy and information. We'll be participating, have a tent up in City Fest to try to give out literature to let people know we're here. Surprisingly, people still don't know that the Veteran Service Agency is here sometimes. So getting them to know that we're here and what services we provide. Tomorrow we're doing an outreach with the VA doing veteran ID cards, and then next week we're meeting with the New York State Veterans Service Officer to see if they'll process claims in here a few times a month. We do have a few issues, mainly having to do with finance, which I'll speak with the mayor offline about. It is really delaying projects for the VSA. We are, for those of you that have seen the furniture up in the memorial room, we're renovating the memorial room so that when we have trainings like Marlon mentioned, it can be up there. The VSA is putting the bill for the whole thing. If any departments have any money they'd like to contribute, we do need a big smart board. It's about $4,000. So if anybody has even a couple of hundred that we can do legislation to switch over to try to complete this renovation, it would be great. But we are looking at completing that soon. The goal is to have it completed before Veterans Day so we can do a grand opening and announce that to everybody along with the Gold Star funding. Hopefully the last proposal will be in by then. But that's on hold again for financial reasons. And then lastly, we are in danger of losing our accreditation. I'm the only accredited DSO that can process claims through this office. Again, a finance issue. Having access to the funding, the training is a week-long training in Syracuse that I'm mandated to attend every 2 years. So it is coming up in the next 3 weeks, and right now I'm not scheduled to go. We'll have to, like I said, discuss that offline. But I'm very proud of the strides that the Veteran Service Agency is making, and we're pushing forward. The main thing is that Gold Star Mothers Monument, because most of our Gold Star Mothers are 90 or deceased, and getting that finished will be amazing.
On the water end, the reactive side for the water department. You know, my people are out there stopping leaks, water main breaks, investigating more pressure issues, which is a great thing in the city. But on the proactive side, this year we started doing our UCMR 4s. It's a special sampling that we have to do with the EPA, and we're doing that for the next 3 years to make sure our water's safe. We're also doing lead and copper this year. But what it was is we started doing this 3 years ago, and our lead and copper samples were very good, so we got a 3-year pass. So this is our 3rd year again, so we started doing that again. We'll be done by the end of September with that. And on the other proactive issue is, I'm sure you all know by now, we've been doing cement lining. This is to upgrade the pipes in the groundwater system, okay? It's a third of the price to cement line the pipes than it is to actually replace them. So, and you know, it costs anywhere between $1.5 million to $2 million to do. So every 3 to 5 years, you know, we don't bond out, we save the money and we do this. So by the end of next week, we will be all done with this for the next 3 years, and then we'll start this process again. So that's another positive thing for us. And then I think that's about it.
Okay, on the civil service side, as many of you are aware, we seem to continue to play the great RPC caper every day, trying to locate the proper paperwork so that people are onboarded correctly. I have requested from the new HR commissioner to meet with her, see how we can streamline the process so that we don't have to continue to search out the same RPC 6 times in order for it to be processed. And hopefully should be able to make some strides so that we can once again deliver to the comptroller on a timely basis. I had a situation 2 weeks ago where 2 people were not properly onboarded, one of which was a single mom that was hysterical because she had no money for her daughter. Luckily enough, working as a team effort, we were able to get her a check generated so that she could get her daughter the appropriate school supplies. We're hopeful about RPCs. The police officer test that we were not able to do this year, we are in desperate needs of the $50,000 to be able to do that. The police list expires next year. We will not have enough time to be able to hold the written exam and then do the agility. We are right now holding an agility for the lower scoring candidates. that will not be taking place until the end of September. So we're hoping that the police department will be able to hire some feasible candidates for December and May of next year. Major issue was the money that we didn't get, and if we get it right now, we'll end up losing it. So Commissioner Harris has been very generous in offering to help us get the money. So Gary and Mayor Wallace, I am pleading to you with desperation to get us the money that we so rightfully need. Oh, and for a while, we did notice that people were not coming in seeking to take civil service tests. But I've noticed a great change in the past month. People are interested again. And I think it's because of all the positive things that are starting to happen. So people are once again interested in hopefully coming here.
You will be on the meetings with HR for the RPCs. We've been talking about looking at onboarding as well as technology.
Okay.
So we can kind of get people up and running.
All right, we're getting ready to wrap up this meeting because I just got a couple of things to just make sure people know. It would be nice for the commissioners to all attend. We have the 9/11 meeting ceremony on the steps of City Hall, honoring those who have passed away in their service, during 9/11, and first responders, as well as all of the families that suffered through this tragedy. So it'll be very, very nice if everybody shows up to show their respects and reach out to all of the people and their families.
Also, I have a list of the first responders from the police department, but I understand that there are a list from the fire department as well as the buildings department of other people. If you have a list of people, let us know because we want to include them on their names on the program.
Okay, also, I'm going to give you guys a heads up on human resource along with our attorneys. We have met this morning to make sure that we are going to put out new information on our sexual harassment cause, along with our behavior policy from employees that are working in City Hall. We are also going to implement a new standard of random drug testing that will be going out throughout City Hall. I'm really fighting now. But anyway, so please be ready as commissioners, department heads. We will be having some conversations for training that this way you can identify certain things, and also you'll be working along with the human resource on the policies and procedures that are going to be put in place to make sure that everybody in City Hall is protected, all our workers are protected, and that your rights are protected. So we will be moving forward with that, so stay tuned for that. That will be happening towards the end of this week. You'll probably be getting a notice on Friday for a scheduled sit-down and conversations to make sure that everyone knows the signs and everyone knows what's going on in their department as far as anything with sexual harassment and any other kind of procedures in any way. People that work here will respect each other. We will make sure that, like I said before, that you leave people empowered when you walk away from them and not disempowered. Okay, we're all one team. We're gonna have to move like a team. So we're gonna continue to be a team by understanding our procedures and our behavior policies and how we treat one another. And don't treat anyone like you don't want yourself to be treated. So that is gonna be strictly enforced. So I'm gonna let you know now, before you get the information on Friday, so that everybody understands. I will not tolerate any of your employees blasting other employees or any commissioners being rude to the employees or vice versa. All right? There is going to be a procedure, and if you have that, don't get into it, don't engage, don't go into arguments, don't go into fights. okay? Just make sure you do the proper protocol to write people up, submit that to HR, let HR deal with what needs to be done. And we're also bringing in someone here on a part-time basis to be able to have those conversations. So it will be for mental health reasons, because I know you look quick when I said mental health, but we need someone here who is going to be able to speak to our employees and speak to the people here who are going through something. So that is going to be implemented through the HR department. So we will have someone here to do. If you have an employee that is going through some problems, there is going to now be someone that they can speak to and have that kind of service that will be rendered to make sure that they get through it, because we will be starting our active shooting program also on, I think, the 16th. It's not today, it's the 16th.
This week and next week.
Yes, but when we're gonna lock down the building, it's gonna be on the 16th, correct?
The 16th.
Okay, on the 16th, so all commissioners will be participating in this actual exercise with the police department, because there has been issues in Texas and all around the country, but we want to make sure that everybody knows that if we ever have a shooter or anything in our buildings or anywhere in our school system or around the city, that we know how to protect ourselves, we know what to do, and we know how to respond. So we'll be doing a joint thing with the police department as they go through the building with the active shooter program, and everybody will be here to participate because you'll be in your departments, and we will all be able to go out and act through all of this stuff and take reports and see exactly and learn exactly what to do in case of any kind of emergency. So it is important that we protect ourselves and the people that we serve when they are in this building. So everybody, we are done with this meeting. Thank you all for all the information, and let's move forward to making this a better city. And everybody else, we can talk offline and we can get things done and continue.
I need the phone listing back that you all work corrected and the sign-in sheet. I haven't seen it up on this end yet.